The following program is underwritten in part by Schmidt's Naturals. Smell seriously amazing and support animal conservation with Schmidt's Special Edition Lily of the Valley Natural Deodorant. Created in collaboration with the Jane Goodall Institute, 5% of each purchase goes to animals in the wild. Learn more and pick up your stick now at schmitz.com.
The following program is also underwritten in part by...
My dog Annie recently broke her leg. Thankfully, she's protected by Embrace Pet Insurance. Embrace offers one simple plan for unexpected accidents and illnesses. To learn more, visit embracepetinsurance.com. Policies underwritten by a licensed insurer of American Modern Insurance Group. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Get this. Burt Ward will be joining us. Is that someone else named Burt Ward, or is it the Burt Ward?
This is Robin from Batman.
Robin.
Yeah. Batman.
We're a mess.
That's the real Robin now.
It is the real Robin. Nothing that came after was the real Robin. The real Robin joining us today. Burt apparently is rescuing very large breeds of animals, or dogs, should I say.
He's been doing it for quite a while now. You know, he started out with Great Danes, I remember years ago. So I guess he's just doing all big dogs now, not just Great Danes.
What do they call those? The giant?
Gentle giants.
Gentle giants.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay,
yes.
So we'll speak to him today before the show is out. I also see we're going to talk a little bit about klepto-cats. I saw you surfing a video yesterday of cats that would steal stuff.
It's so funny to watch them.
Those videos, I believe, were the inspiration for a book that's just come out called The Secret Life of Mac, and it talks about a klepto-kitty.
Klepto-kitty.
Oops, sorry.
Is that your bat phone?
It is, but it's a false alarm. I'm patiently waiting for a phone call. I'm waiting to hear news of my little girl's anesthetic procedure. She's having a dental cleaning, and she's having a scoping of her bladder and her vaginal area.
So you don't do these procedures yourself?
Not on my own dog.
Not on your own dog. Okay, I get that.
I'm a mama. Okay. I can't do it to my baby, so my husband does it.
You guys obviously think different about that.
So you're waiting for a call on your bat phone.
From your husband.
Yes.
And we're waiting for a call from Batman's
sidekick.
Robin.
How cool. It's a meant-to-be thing today.
It is. We're also going to talk to you toll-free at 1-866-405-8405. Lori, what are you working on for the news this hour?
Oh, going to tell you why. This just caught me by surprise. Why some police dogs, in fact, a lot of them, could be losing their jobs soon.
I hate to hear that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Joey, what are you working on?
Well, I got a letter that I want to read. Someone's dog has dry, itchy skin. How we can help solve that problem.
1-866-405-8405. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hi, Doc. I have a couple questions. I have a 12-year-old Labrador that's experiencing been diagnosed with some elbow arthritis, and he's been getting real wobbly walking.
Okay.
So the slightest little divot in the grass, he could literally almost fall over.
Okay. Is that on the front end or the back end or both?
Well, the elbows seem to be the limping, the pain. The rear legs don't seem to be painful. They just seem to be loose, wobbly. He's not very stable on them. And short walks are about that all he can do now. So I've tried a little Rimadyl, had no effect. I tried the Metacam, I didn't see anything either. I've been giving him, an aspirin or so every other day. That seems to be about the best. And then I've been giving him the liquid glucosamine, chondroitin, high potency in his dry food.
Okay.
I'm just worried that he's in pain. I don't know how to tell.
Yeah, and that's a great question, because it is hard to tell with osteoarthritis when a pet's in pain, because a lot of the gradual signs kind of mimic that of just getting old, and it's very easy to just say, oh, well, he's just, getting old, that's why he's doing that. But, if we're noticing that he's having trouble getting up and down from a lying position, if he does have some muscle loss or unsteadiness in the back legs, that can be associated with arthritis, but there can be some other causes there. So if he seems wobbly, I would look for explaining this by arthritis, but there still could be some other spinal disease or other neurologic things that could be going on causing an unsteadiness in the back end. So we might have some success with some pain management, but I kind of want to keep my eyes open that we're not missing anything else that's more than just arthritis here. So you mentioned a couple of the good non-steroidal pain remedies that we use, Rimadyl, Metacam. I don't use aspirin anymore. It's got such a long withdrawal time and causes GI ulceration for animals. So if those prescription ones didn't do the job, we can look at doing some different things.
I've never tried the Anaquin yet, though. I heard this morning on the radio, I heard a lady using, or you recommended to use Anaquin. That was another one, I guess.
Oh, the Adequan. Yes.
Adequan.
And that was actually one of the things I was going to mention, because even like the liquid glucosamine, great thing to try. I have tried recently a product that has not just glucosamine, but also has avocado extracts. It goes by a brand name called Dasaquin, and they come in little chews. And I've had some good success with some patients on that have been on glucosamine, and we just haven't seen quite enough results. But that is something, check with your veterinarian for you. I don't think you'll find that in the general market.
Is
but yes,
Dasaquin a prescription?
It's not necessarily a prescription, but it's just a veterinary line. It's a nutraceutical, so it's a kind of a supplement, but it's kind of in the food form. But it is, like I said, it's usually a veterinary brand, so it's just not sold at Costco or, at the pet stores. And then, yes, the Adequan, which can be very helpful to help keep that joint healthy, helps to prevent enzyme degradation in the joint. And, a lot of people, we have to give it by injection. That's the only thing that kind of puts some people off. But I've actually trained many of my clients to give these injections at home. And once we get through that initial period of twice a week for several weeks, they may give a shot once a month or every couple months, and it can kind of help give them a little more get up and go and comfort when we're talking about dealing with this chronic, painful condition. So, yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to look at that. And for many people, we'll also look at fish oils. And just like people who have heart disease and arthritis, it has some benefits about decreasing inflammation in the body. And for animals, we can use that as well in that same way. So that's another alternative.
I have been giving him fish oil, the omega, fish oil, the high potency ones, with his food. Are those Anaquin injections, are they done in the area of the pain, or are they just done, in the loose part of the skin?
Good question. They're just given anywhere in the loose skin. And we used to have to give this in an intramuscular injection, which meant the veterinarian had to do that. But yeah, anywhere we can give a subcutaneous injection on the back, on the hip area, anywhere up through the back area, we can give that. And it's really easy to do, and most pets take to it very well. So yeah, that might be something if you're comfortable with the needle thing and you're not a little needle shy. I'd look into that.
Mike, we appreciate your call today. I know you're a new listener in Los Angeles. 1-866-405-8405 to chat with anyone of the Dream Team right now. This portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Embrace Pet Insurance, providing nose-to-tail accident and illness coverage for your dog or cat. It can be customized to fit your budget and your needs. Simply take your dog or cat to any vet, submit a claim form, and get reimbursed quickly. Learn more at embracepetinsurance.com to get a quote. And thanks, Embrace, for underwriting Animal Radio. And let's take one for Dr. Debbie. We have Robert on the phone. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Hello.
What's going on?
Hello.
I can barely hear you. Take your hand off the speaker on your phone. Hold it on either side there. You're muffled.
Let me take off the Bluetooth then.
Okay.
Hold on.
Those damn Bluetooth. They're supposed to help us out, but I can't get mine to work.
Okay.
There's always trouble.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, okay. My Akita, the last 2 weeks, she's starting to bleed after she used the restroom. Now the blood is in the urine now. And, she had a problem when she was 1 year old, and they found out she had a weak liver, and they put her on that LD prescription diet food. And now they're trying to figure out if she have an infection or just probably because of her liver.
Okay. Now, I got to ask, is this gal spayed?
Yes.
Okay, so good. That eliminates the in-heat kind of part of the question there. So, you know what, the number one thing what I would think about with a doggy that has a history of a liver problem, especially one that's severe enough where we're talking about nutritional control with such a diet such as that, which is a low-protein diet. The main thing that comes to mind is bladder stones. And there's all sorts of different types of bladder stones that are out there, but there are certain types that we see more commonly in pets that have a liver dysfunction, typically urate-based stones. That's the kind that they often get. So definitely, I would say this would be something that if she's passing blood regularly, it is something we need to look into. And the way that I would do that would be, one, to collect a urine sample, but two, it might involve even taking some x-rays of her bladder area to see. Because if it is that, we need to deal with those suckers, because they ain't going to go anywhere on their own if they're formed and if they're in that bladder. And that's just a source of discomfort and infection in itself. If you think about the bladder, it's basically just a big sack, and it holds that urine. If we have anything bopping around in there like stones or crystals, it's just kind of creating more and more irritation and more opportunity for infection to happen. So I would definitely get this baby checked out and see if that is my suspicion is correct there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was going to get ready to take her Monday, and they wanted to do another blood test on her so she can renew her LD prescription diet food. So I get them to do the x-rays too. So. Yeah,
definitely. And that's good. I'm glad to hear that you're doing some follow-up lab work, because we always watch those patients with liver problems. And does she seem to be holding her weight okay, eating okay, all that stuff?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
very good.
She just have this motion of going to the restroom, but she don't really go to the restroom after the first time. Then little drops of blood come out, and she just squatting there for a couple of seconds. So.
Oh goodness! Well, let's hope it's just a urinary infection, because that could certainly have a much easier start and stop and ending point than if we do have any kind of stone. So, my best wishes to you, and let us know how things turn out there at the doc's office. Thank you so much for your call, Robert. This is Dr. Debbie. We're here to take your calls at 1-866-405-8405.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
If you've ever shared your home and heart with a charmingly naughty animal who's always up to mischief, you'll fall in love with MacGyver, the matchmaking Klepto-kitty in The Secret Life of Mac by Melinda Metz. Hilarious and heartwarming, this pawsome romantic comedy will have you laughing out loud as Mac, the thieving tabby, steals your heart. The Secret Life of Mac by Melinda Metz is on sale now everywhere books are sold. Visit KensingtonBooks.com for more info.
And now an Animal Radio News Brief.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, you know what? I'm the type of person, when there's a bee, I'm gone. I'll run for miles to get away from it. I'll be in the middle of the freeway and I'll get out of my car. According to The Guardian, there have been 28 people so far who have died, and hundreds have been injured in a wave of attacks by giant hornets in central China. The hornets are also known as Vespa mandarinia, and they reportedly chased people for hundreds of miles and then stung them as many as 200 times. The venom from these stings can cause shock and kidney failure, and as if you wouldn't die from sheer terror, the average stinger on a giant Asian hornet, it measures about 1/4 of an inch. That's like getting a shot. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Brief. Get more at animalradio.pet.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Yeah, we got new digs. The Red Barn Studios, and I like it.
I like the new deco of it.
What I like about it is the lights are dimmer in here. It's very, very nice. And along with it, we have 2 brand new affiliates to the Animal Radio Network. We welcome WGPD in Winter Garden, Florida, which sounds really nice, as well as KABC in Los Angeles. If this is your first time listening to Animal Radio, to my left is Judy Francis, and she is screening your calls.
Hi there.
Get back to screening calls.
Okay. I'm answering the phone.
Straight in center, we have Dr. Debbie. She's our veterinarian answering your vet medical questions.
You got it.
And in the newsroom, in her own little cubby space, she doesn't like sharing our germs. It's Miss Lori Brooks, our news director.
I am a germaphobe, but you often hear snoring, and that's Diesel, a bulldog. And
scurrying into the studio is dog father Joey Villani, everybody's favorite groomer. Late night last night?
No, I woke up late today, and I raced here to the studio. So, you know, and you know how traffic is.
Okay, here's the number. Write it on your unk, if you will. It's toll-free, 1-866-405-8405. We love to hear from you, especially if you're over the top with your animals. We all are here. You look in our wallets, on our phones, all the pictures. We won't find a picture of our spouses or partners. You'll just find pictures of our dogs and cats and iguanas and flamingos, just like you. Toll free 1-866-405-8405, or you can ask your questions from the free Animal Radio app for iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. It's a free download, so go get that puppy right now. Ms. Lori Brooks, we're going to do a quick check of the news coming up. What are you working on for this hour?
Well, in many states, EMTs, emergency medical technicians, can only treat humans. And, you know, many times something happens with canine dogs who, up until now, could not be treated. But one state is about to change that.
Wow, the EMTs couldn't treat
a police dog.
Oh, wow.
No, in fact, they were penalized for it.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm glad they're making advances on that. We'll find out details in just a few minutes with Miss Lori Brooks. But now it's about you. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing today?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Very good. What's up in your world?
Not too bad. We have two miniature dachshunds, one 9 pounds and one 15. And one of them, the bigger one, we got from a shelter, and she has really bad teeth. Like they didn't take care of it at all when before we got her. And we're wondering if there's anything that can be done. We still, brush the teeth and stuff, but I didn't know if there's anything to get the teeth back to normal. Looks like they're got really bad teeth right now.
Okay, yeah, and dachshunds, I'll say right off of the bat, dachshunds sometimes can really have exaggerated periodontal problems compared to some other breeds, especially little dogs. So if you have a little dog, we really want to jump on dental care very early on. And in your situation there, Scott, if you've adopted and she's kind of not had dental care up till now, we're going to have to start from scratch. And I think the first thing that we need to do is really see about getting a professional dental cleaning. And that's very important because to try to brush teeth on a dog that has advanced dental disease, it's a painful process. So you want to start fresh with healthy teeth. So see your veterinarian, get a cleaning, polishing scheduled, and, see if there's any problem teeth in there that need to come out of there. In many cases, we need to deal with those problems before we can actually get on a good preventative care regimen at home. But you're definitely right to be worried because, we know that dental disease is a big problem and we know it causes a lot of other health manifestations in the body. And in fact, by the age of 3 years, 85% of all dogs and cats will have some degree of periodontal disease.
Gosh.
So it's really a very startling thing, and if you're not making efforts now, it is time. So once you get your dog's teeth cleaned, there are some important things that you can do at home. But again, this is secondary after you get those teeth taken care of at the vet office. And brushing teeth by far is the best thing. If you do it 3 times a week, you're going to have some benefit. Once every 6 weeks when you go to the groomers, isn't going to do it. So you want to make sure you use a doggy toothpaste and really start slowly to get your pet used to that brushing sensation. But even if that's not something that your dog will take to, there's some other products out there, oral rinses that you can apply to the gum line. There's additives you add to the water that can actually help prevent plaque accumulation on the teeth. And then, of course, most people know about the treats and the different dental diets out there. And actually, some of them
are actually proven to have a benefit. And there is a organization called the Veterinary Oral Health Council, and there's actually a seal of approval that they give to very common dental treats and diets. So some of those things may be another avenue that we can use. And again, once that mouth is clean and we've got a good, healthy starting point to get things started.
Definitely. Well, thanks a lot for your help.
I am pleased as punch to say that this portion of Animal Radio is brought to you by the grain-free Red Barn Naturals canned food for dogs and cats. It is always made in the USA with natural, functional ingredients to support your pet's optimal health. You can learn more over at redbarninc.com. And thank you, Red Barn, for underwriting Animal Radio and giving us our brand new studios.
People say less is more. At Red Barn, we think less is better. It's what you won't find that sets our natural premium pet food apart. No byproducts, no corn or soy, no fillers. Just the natural ingredients your pets need to live the healthy life they deserve. Look at the label. We want you to. Red Barn Naturals Pet Food. Simply the best. Find it in your local pet specialty store. Red Barn canned food for cats and dogs is grain and gluten-free.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. Police in Boston are said to be elated over a proposed legislation there that would allow emergency medical techs to treat police dogs who are injured in the line of duty. As the chief there says, we owe it to an animal we are pulling into service to do the best we can for them. Right now, Massachusetts law penalizes EMTs if they assist an animal in an emergency. This proposal prioritizes humans requiring medical attention before law enforcement dogs receive care, but the EMTs would no longer be penalized for helping an official canine. They can't just help any dog. It also allows licensed veterinarians to provide written guidelines or consultations with those EMTs who are providing emergency care to police dogs. The proposal comes after a police dog named Nero was hospitalized for a week. This was back in April after he was shot in the face, and Nero's human partner was killed while trying to serve a warrant. But now Nero has since recovered, and he continues to live with the slain officer's family. Meanwhile, while we're talking about police dogs, amid all of the legal haze that has arisen since voters around the country have approved recreational marijuana, there is now some doubt surrounding the future roles of police dogs and the admissibility of evidence uncovered by those marijuana-sensitive snouts they have. You see, many police dogs were trained to detect drugs, right? And then they signal the presence of drugs to their handlers, who use that, in part, as a basis to search vehicles that police have pulled over. However, many police dogs were not trained to differentiate between a legal, now recreational substance, many places like marijuana, and an illegal substance such as, cocaine or heroin or in court. Now, many of these defendants charged in these cases are arguing that the drug sniffing dogs police rely upon to determine probable cause to search a vehicle may be detecting legal marijuana instead of illegal substances. So without a firm basis for probable cause, the cases can be thrown out in court no matter what is eventually found in the vehicle, because it's a technicality. Those police dogs trained to sniff out marijuana as a drug because, they're trained to sniff many drugs as one. They can still be used to assist federal authorities in searching areas where marijuana remains illegal. And some of those places include school buses, schools, and prisons. Finally, it's official. We've been hearing about this for quite a while, but Taylor Swift is going to be making her big screen movie debut this year. And this is the perfect movie musical for her because she loves cats. So she's going to star in Cats. Taylor will play the role of Bombalurina, the flirty and glamorous cat in the production. So a lot of the teens are excited about this. I'm not a big musical fan. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
If you're new to Animal Radio, that means it's time for dog father Joey Villani on Animal Radio. And what's up with you today?
Not too much. I don't know. I'm a little tired today for some reason. I feel like I've been on the road for a while before I got here. So
what's going on?
So I got a letter here from a Vanessa, and if I say your last name wrong, I'm sorry, Cianzano, and she's asked me. She has a border collie, and apparently her border collie is scratching and itching, and she said that she feeds well, and she's adding supplements, a lot of omega fish oils and all those things that you find at a pet store. And she's saying it went from a dry, itchy skin to an oily, flaky, itchy skin.
Whoops.
And yeah, and to be honest with you, I see this all the time because what people try to do is they try to build a nice, luxurious coat. And the first thing that they try to do is, let's put supplements in, because everything you read, your dog is lacking this, your dog is lacking that, and what ends up happening is you sometimes overdo it. This is a case of overdoing it. So basically, if you're feeding well and your dog is good all along, then all of a sudden it starts to get dry. Well, a lot of reasons is because, and again, I've said this probably 4 or 5 times this year alone, the heat has gone on in our houses. And hold on, I want to see where she is from. And I know I've seen it here somewhere. She's in the eastern side of Washington, so she's definitely in a drier climate. So it's probably the coat is drying out. So real easy. Brushing and combing is essential because that is going to get out all of that undercoat, and it's going to give that working coat the strongest, healthiest coat to work with, because you're pulling out the undercoat, you're leaving the top coat, and it's breathing properly. So that's number one. Number two, and I say this a lot, if you get yourself a bottle of distilled water and mix get a spray bottle, mix maybe a quart size. And why do I use distilled water? Because it's not going to spoil on you as quickly as regular tap water will. Distilled water will last for quite some time. But we're going to add in probably a teaspoon, I shouldn't say probably, it is a teaspoon of olive oil, which works better than coconut oil, unless you can find the clarified coconut oil. It's I think it's MCT is what it's called, but it's clear. It's not jellified. And put that in, shake it up well, spray it lightly on the coat, and brush it through. So what that's going to do is the water's going to hydrate the coat, and what the oil does, it makes the water stick to the coat, so it then goes into the skin instead of just evaporating. Brush that through, and you should have no problems, but I would definitely cut back or lay off the supplements. If that doesn't work, then you may want to talk to your veterinarian, but a lot of times that's all it needs.
Okay. And extra virgin or just virgin olive oil? Just any kind of olive oil, right?
It don't matter. Any type. Because to be quite honest with you, and I would go probably with the cheaper olive oil, because really all you want it to do, you want the water to have something to bind to instead of spraying it on and then the atmosphere evaporating it off. So what the oil is going to do, because it's very minimal, a teaspoon to a quart of water, it's just going to give it something to hold on to. It's going to make it stick to the coat so the skin can suck it in and can absorb.
Okay, if you want to talk to Joey right now, it's a free call. Call 1-866-405-8405. And let's go to Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Okay, what's going on with your animals?
So last night, my dog, she was perfectly fine. And then when we went to bed, she started yipping like her bottom hurt. And her tail's tucked, and she hasn't gone to the bathroom. She hasn't pooed or peed or anything.
Wow.
And I'm very concerned.
Okay. And so this happened all of a sudden then, huh? Is she doing anything as far as like limping, or is she jumping up on her bed, furniture?
Nope. She wasn't doing anything like that.
Okay. How about anything like licking or scooting her butt, doing anything of that nature?
No, I haven't seen that either.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd have to say the first thing that I think of with a Chihuahua, and that's having symptoms kind of to the back end with a tuck tail and seeming like we're uncomfortable and not really doing our normal things, not jumping, not eliminating on the normal schedules. the first thing that I would look at is really to look at her spine.
Okay.
Because I do commonly see Chihuahuas where they can have problems with disc problems. So basically with their spine. And that can cause just kind of a referred pain to the lower part of the abdomen and the hind end. And because it hurts to go to the bathroom, they may not go. And your veterinarian can kind of get a feel for this by feeling along her spine and seeing if she shows some reaction. But ultimately, they'll probably want to do some x-rays. And the other reason I'd want to do x-rays would be to make sure that she doesn't have any problems with her bladder or her colon.
Right.
Because you said she's not going. Want to make sure she's not blocked in any way.
Okay.
But yeah, so I do think that would be something I would really look at and see if we need to get this gal some pain medicine, at least in the meantime, while we're figuring some stuff out. So yeah. And and a couple of things you said, not wanting to jump up and down and with that tail being held down. So if it is something with her spine, the way I always describe this to people is that for us, if we have a back problem, we don't do much. We lay down. We just kind of stay put. And dogs, they're horizontal, their spine. So anything that causes that horizontal spine to kind of move up and down at either end can cause pain. So going upstairs or jumping on or off furniture or sometimes even just lifting the head can cause pain. So that would be kind of on my concern list. So definitely get that checked out and let us know how things turn out.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your call. Toll free 1-866-405-8405 to reach out to the Dream Team. This portion of Animal Radio is underwritten in part by Schmidt's Naturals. Smell seriously amazing and support animal conservation with Schmidt's Special Edition Lily of the Valley Natural Deodorant. It was created in collaboration with the Jane Goodall Institute, and 5% of each purchase supports animals in the wild. Learn more at schmitz.com, and thanks Schmitz for underwriting Animal Radio.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
Something Worth Saving by Sandy Ward is a touching and funny exploration of family life as told by a highly perceptive and outspoken narrator named Lily, who happens to be a cat. Lily is a fiercely loyal friend to her human. So when things start happening in her family, she's ready to step up and prove that she may be tiny, but she's also mighty. Something Worth Saving will make you a believer in the deep connection between humans and their furry friends. Pick up a copy of Something Worth Saving today everywhere books are sold, and visit sandywardbooks.com for more info.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Every once in a while, I'll catch you surfing videos online. You were surfing yesterday. You were watching videos of cats that steal stuff.
It was adorable. They were taking all kinds of stuff. They were getting in drawers. They were taking pens. They were knocking stuff off the desk. And once they got it in their mouth, they just took off running like they knew.
Apparently, this is a thing.
I've heard about a lot of cats that do that. One cat would steal, I guess, underwear from neighbors' lines and stuff, and they'd have to come around collecting it, or the people would have to go back and find the owners.
It sounds like it would make a great inspiration for a story, and that's exactly what Melinda Metz did with The Secret Life of Mac, and we're welcoming author Melinda Metz to the show right now. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
So tell us about your personal cats. Do you have cats?
My very first pet was a cat. My dad got her for me when I was 2 years old, and I had her till I was in my first year of college. Her name was Smokey. But since then, I've gotten allergic to cats. I have a dog now.
So it's not a matter of being a cat person or a dog person. It's an allergy thing.
It's an allergy thing. And when I go to visit friends who have cats, I always still pet them. And then I'm like, I should have taken Benadryl before I came. But, it's nothing personal about cats.
We'd have to shoot Hal if he was allergic to cats. Yeah, he couldn't handle it. He loves his cats.
I am a cat guy.
You are a cat guy.
And that's why I love The Secret Life of Mac, a brand new story that's just come out. This is a story, obviously, about a Klepto-kitty, a cat that takes off with stuff.
My editor, Gary Goldstein, actually came to me with the idea because he'd been watching a lot of cat videos, and then I started watching them all the Klepto-kitty videos. He was actually thinking of doing a nonfiction book about them because they became such a phenomenon, but then his wife said she thought that he should do romance with the Klepto-kitty, and then that's how I got involved. So
it's almost a real story. It was inspired by real stuff happening, but it is fiction.
It's definitely fiction.
Without giving it away, I hate spoilers, but without giving it away, can you kind of give us a hint of what happens in the story?
Well, in this story, this is the second book about Mac, and in the first book, he got his person together with a human, and they go off on their honeymoon, and her cousin comes to cat sit for him, and he can kind of smell that she's unhappy, so he always kind of takes it on himself if he just kind of thinks people aren't smart enough to really solve their own problems. So he kind of goes, he takes it on somewhat reluctantly, but he just thinks no one else will be able to do it. So he does it mostly by smell. He smells a person that he thinks would be good for her, and then he goes to work kind of getting them together. Ooh. And he also foils a little bit of a crime, too.
Now, I had a cat
bit, yeah.
when I was dating that I would use my cat to pick out my boyfriends. If I brought home a date, my cat didn't like it, the guy was out.
Really? They can tell. They have a good sense of character.
Yes, they do, and he was right.
You must have done some research for this book.
I read all kinds of different things about cat behavior. Even though I had that one cat for 17 years and I had another cat too, I didn't know about the little gland they have on the roof of their mouth that gives them extra information from what they smell. They kind of flick air in with their tongues. And I looked at things about cat body language with their whiskers and their ears and their tails and sense of eyesight and smell. And I just read a bunch of different factual cat information, anything I could find.
A lot of watching videos, I assume?
I watched a lot of videos, too, for inspiration.
So is the book, is anyone in the book real or based on real people?
A couple minor characters are based on people that the story is set in Hollywood, and I lived in Hollywood for a while, and my neighbors inspired a couple of the characters. So,
but I'm assuming that the names have been changed.
I didn't actually change their name. I didn't think that they would mind. Everyone else's name I changed. I mean, and everyone else was just kind of loosely inspired. But Al and Marie DiFrancesco were my neighbors, and I didn't think they'd mind because they were great neighbors. It's just they knew everything about whatever was going on.
There's always one. Every neighborhood has one of those.
Right. It would be like, oh, I saw you had lean cuisine. Are you trying to lose weight? I mean, they would know the contents of my garbage can, but because I shared a garbage can with them, and at that time I had a dog too, and they were really sweet to him. They would give him leftovers with warmed up gravy, and Marie was the only one who could tell my dog what to do. She'd say, "Dodger, go home." We shared a fenced-in area, and he would go home, and he wouldn't go home when I called him. But so I just kind of things like that. They were both in their 80s, and they were just such characters. I don't think that they'd mind. I did put in the beginning of the first book that I dedicated it to them, and I did make it clear that I made up some stuff. So.
Now, as an author and a reader, you were fairly resistant as a kindergarten to the whole reading and writing thing, weren't you? Your mom tried to get you involved?
That's what my mom has told me. My mother was an elementary school teacher, and she loves reading, and she wanted me to learn to read before I started kindergarten, but I had no interest at all. So then she just let it go. But I did become quite a reader pretty quickly. I don't know why I had no interest. I just didn't want to learn, I guess.
Well, as a late bloomer in that, you certainly have done fine. The Secret Life of Mac is your second. Talk to the Paw was the first, but The Secret Life of Mac, it just came out. I have 10 copies to give out right now. Toll free at 1-866-405-8405. If you're not lucky enough to get on through, head on over to Amazon or your favorite bookstore and ask for it. It is The Secret Life of Mac. Melinda Metz, the author. And thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Paul Rogers.
And Cynthia Rogers.
On Animal Radio.
Just know that it's going to be all right, meow.
Do you travel with your dog?
Of course. My pets are part of our family.
Me too. I take Daisy with me everywhere. Right, Daisy? So how do you find out what hotels welcome your dog?
I read Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog.
Sounds perfect for planning our next vacation. Right, Daisy?
It is. Their motto is leave no dog behind, and they have great hotel and destination reviews.
Where can I find the magazine?
Go online to FidoFriendly.com.
I will for sure. Come on, Daisy. We're off to find our next adventure.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. And now, from the Red Barn Studios, here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Okay, write this number down. It's 1-866-405-8405. It is toll-free to the Dream Team to talk to Dr. Debbie or Joey Villani right now, or Ladybug, the studio stunt dog. Yes, our dog takes calls, too. Doesn't yours? No? Well, we actually had to train our dog to do this. She wears a little headset thing because she, without the opposable thumbs, she can't hold the phone receiver. But if your dogs have human questions, about us humans, she's the one to talk to. 1-866-405-8405. This hour, Burt Ward will be joining us. I haven't heard that name in a long time. This is the actual Burt Ward Robin from Batman.
The original.
And I got to figure
the Batman TV series, like in the 60s?
The very beginning one, yeah. So he's got to be, well, he must have been very young when he was Robin.
I think so, because I remember Robin, and I'm pretty young.
He has an affinity for these great big dogs, like the Great Danes, the Gentle Giants, and he rescues them now. We're going to find out what his place is like. I understand he has many, many, many rescues, and that he is a foster failure, like many of us. So that's on the way this hour right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
Well, checking out new pet products. There is a new litter box that will be coming on the market shortly this year. And I got to tell you, I've had many different kinds of litter boxes, but this one, I like the looks of it. And if it does everything that they say it's supposed to do, I think it's going to be a really great thing.
What could a litter box possibly do?
This one is supposed to hold the dirty litter for 2 weeks, all kinds of other things, but it looks good. You could put it in your living room.
Well, I don't know if I'd want it in my living room if it's holding litter for 2 weeks, dirty litter.
And it can also automatically add new litter.
Wow. If it can go out and do the shopping and pick up my laundry, that would be great, too.
I was going to say, we have one of those here. Her name is Judy.
Yes, Judy gets the unfortunate duty of cleaning the duty.
Cleaning the duty.
The duty. She has duty.
Duty. Judy, duty.
Okay, let's go to your calls right now. 1-866-405-8405 to talk to Dr. Debbie or to groomer Joey Villani. Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Where are you calling from today?
Miles, Iowa.
Miles, Iowa.
We have more snow than we have out here.
Well, Dr. Debbie's here. How can we help you?
Well, our dog has...
Dogs.
Has what?
I said dogs. Well, dogs.
Have what? Here, you talk about it.
Oh, no, have.
They got stuff in their ear.
Crusty and the one yelps when you touch your ear.
My wife says it's crusty looking. Is it white or black or green?
Like little white lumps.
Little white lumps.
Okay.
And it's crusty.
And it's crusty.
And the dog yelps with you.
And the dog, yelps just a little if you touch your ear.
Now, you mentioned you have more than one dog, and they both have the same problem?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little problematic for me because in general, when we talk about ear problems in dogs, there's not a lot of things that are really contagious. And if I'm from Vegas, so if I'm going to put my gambling chips on the line, I'm going to say it's a little unusual to have something in both dogs that isn't contagious. So the number one thing I'd really go looking for is ear mites, which are a contagious parasite that can cause ear problems, a lot of itchiness, discomfort, very scratchy pets when they have that. But there are other things, and we look at anything anything from infections of yeast, bacteria, to little foxtails, those little plant parts that work their way in the ears. So if both pets are in the same environment, yeah, I guess they could get those. But I really want to check out your pets and see if they might have something like ear mites. And that's something easily done. You walk into your local veterinary office and you ask them to take a sample of that and look at it under the microscope. And, oh, cool stuff moves around when we find ear mites. So if it is something like that, it is very treatable.
They're pretty much indoor dogs. You know, we just let them out to go to the bathroom, and they're chained up. It's not like they run through any fields or, you know, they're running all over the place.
Okay. And usually for something like ear mites, it is contagious between pets. So if there's a new animal in the home, whether it's a rabbit, a cat, or a dog, if they're sharing the same environment, then that could be contagious. Now, if they're not running that large and they don't really have contact with other pets, maybe it's less likely. But either which way, the number one thing I'm going to want to have to help answer this question is really to get a sample of that and look under a microscope. Because that's really the heart of where we start with these type of problems. I could list a million products to have you go purchase and put in your pet's ear, but it'll be just as worthless as flushing the toilet. So the number one thing is really for any pet with an ear problem to really get a good direction and a diagnosis. And that is the biggest problem and the biggest reason why a lot of pets' ear infections don't get effectively treated, because we kind of home treat, or we go over to the local pet store and we pick something off the shelf and we try to see if that will do the trick. But I really can't advocate enough that we get at least one of these babies to the vet, but I would preferably get both of them over there.
Okay.
Thanks for your call, Richard. Good luck with that. Let us know if you need a follow-up. It's toll-free, 1-866-405-8405. Well, welcome to the show, Brian. How are you doing?
Oh, just fabulous.
Where are you calling from today?
Colorado.
Beautiful Colorado, my home state. What's going on? I have the doctor and the behaviorist. We're all here for you.
Well, my mother was bitten by a 4-month-old kitten, and he got infected. She went to the doctor, and he's got to report, or says he's got to report all animal bites.
Yeah.
Now, the curiosity I have is, do they quarantine the cat? I mean, because it hasn't had its rabies shots, it hasn't had any of the shots and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, generally, if the pet is old enough to have the rabies vaccine and has not yet received it, the animal control authorities are going to do some kind of quarantine, whether that's in a boarding situation, like in a animal shelter or in an animal hospital, or at home. It kind of depends a little bit on the jurisdiction, as well as what the potential exposure is. Now, the thing that we have to recognize is that rabies does occur in a lot of parts of this country, and actually I read a recent report about a kitten that did have rabies and had to be put down. So this can happen. So there is some justified concern here. Now, you may know your kitty and say it's impossible, but still we want to follow whatever regulations your area has. So yeah, and it's generally something we don't have to necessarily panic about. If the cat has a lot of outdoor exposure, then it might, be cause for concern. But that may be, like I said, it may be just something that they impose a home quarantine without necessarily impounding her at a shelter.
Right.
So
I'm sorry?
I was going to say, what have you talked to anyone from the animal control authorities?
No. I have not talked to anybody yet.
Okay.
But because it's like I said, it's a 4-month-old. It's a kitten. It's inside, and in my heart, I know it doesn't have rabies.
I wouldn't panic.
Yeah, you know what? It happened to me. I got bit by my older cat, and I had to go and get shots and stuff because I got infected. And I was contacted immediately by our animal control, and they came out to the house. They looked at the cat, said, okay, he looks fine. They put signs all over my house and quarantined him there for 10 days. I was not allowed to take any animals outside. My dog was not allowed out of the house. Everybody had to stay in the house for 10 days.
That was pretty benign.
Yeah, and then at 10 days, I called them, and they said, okay, rip the signs down. Everybody's fine.
And we actually have the sign hanging here in the studio. It's just sort of we think it's kind of a joke now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't worry about it. Don't panic about it.
Yeah.
And, it's something that they got to do. It's the law. They're just trying to protect everyone from rabies.
Right. Well, how old can you start giving the rabies shots? I mean.
Oh, good question. Rabies is generally at 12 weeks of age it can be given, so you're not too far behind. But gosh, it would have been just great if that was on board, because that does kind of change the rules if a pet's already been vaccinated or if they've not been vaccinated. So.
Yeah, don't sweat it, Brian. Totally protocol, and I'm sure everything will turn out okay. Thanks for your call. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405. Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Kensington Books, inspired by true stories of cats who have been caught stealing from their humans. The Secret Life of Mac by Melinda Metz is a hilarious and heartwarming novel about an adorable Klepto-kitty with a passion for thievery and a sideline in helping the humans in his life find the love that they deserve. The Secret Life of Mac by Melinda Metz is available everywhere books are sold, and you can learn more at kensingtonbooks.com. Thanks, Kensington, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
And now an Animal Radio news brief. A British woman recently located her missing diamond earring, but she's going to have to wait almost a decade before she's able to wear it again. Claire Lennon told The Telegraph that her pet chicken, Sarah, snatched the $450 piece of jewelry while she was perched on her shoulder. Everybody carries around a pet chicken, don't they? Veterinarians determined the earring was trapped in the chicken's stomach, and while they said they could remove it with risky surgery, Lennon quickly ruled that out because she says her 6-year-old daughter would be devastated if Sarah died. So instead, they intend to wait until Sarah grows old and passes away from natural causes, which Lennon estimates could happen in about 8 years. I guess it doesn't come out in the poop like dogs or something. You know, you go through the dogs if they eat something. Well, at least I do. My dogs eat something that I need. I look in the backyard and see if it's there. This has been an Animal Radio news brief. Get more at animalradio.pet.
Need a fix of the good stuff? Get more Animal Radio with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall on Animal Radio, and I just like everybody to realize that each day you live, you make some difference on the planet, and you can choose what kind of difference you're going to make. And hopefully every day you'll try to make the world a little bit better for people, for animals, and for the environment.
Here is today's top automotive news story. I'm Nick Miles. Ford are getting ready for the first test drives of the new 2020 Explorer. The Ford Explorer is America's all-time best-selling SUV for 2020. It has been redesigned from the ground up. The new Ford Explorer will come in a choice of rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Under the hood, a 3-litre EcoBoost engine that makes the most powerful Explorer ever, and there's an option of an ST with over 400 horsepower or a hybrid that'll go 500 miles on a single tank. Video of the new Explorer is at ourautoexpert.com.
Our Auto Expert is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices, every day.
Hi, this is Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family. I'm on Animal Radio. Adopt a pet.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Okay, we're just getting used to things here. This may not make a difference to you, but to us, we are in brand new studios, the Red Barn Studios here today. And
great decor.
After 19 years of doing Animal Radio, it's about time we get some new studios. So thank you so much, Red Barn. We appreciate everything that you've done for Animal Radio and are proud to partner with you. We are moments away from Burt Ward, and we're also moments away from a quick check of the news with Miss Lori Brooks in our Animal Radio newsroom.
Coming up, the opioid crisis not just affecting people. And we'll discuss addiction with animals. Is that possible?
Oh, I never thought of that. I bet they can get addicted.
Yeah,
okay, that's on the way in just a few minutes. Let's go to your calls right now. Toll free, 1-866-405-8405. And we're going for a call for Dr. Debbie. We have Jim. Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
Good. I've got two small dogs, and they got into, I don't know which one ate the most, or if they both ate one just ate the whole thing, and the other one did not get any.
What did they get into?
What'd they eat?
Pork rind.
Pork rinds. Oh, was this a full bag of pork rinds?
It would be probably about a half a bag.
Okay. All right. Well, and is anybody showing any symptoms as so far?
Not so far, but I'm no longer with the dogs right now. I had to hit the road, and so my wife is watching them. But we did have one dog years ago that we gave him pork chop fat, and she died from it. So
I don't understand. We got to back up here because I'm completely confused. Pork rinds are not good for dogs?
Okay, well, pork rinds are, really high in fat. It's basically the deep fried fat from pork, and it's going to have a lot of salt in it, so it's kind of cured. So because of those two things, the high fat and the high salt content, it definitely can be problematic. Now, depending on who got it and how much was ingested by each particular dog, this may be something as simple as some stomach upset with diarrhea or vomiting. I do tend to see dogs that get into this kind of thing. We'll even see a greasy nature to the stools when they're passing their stools. So that would definitely be, I'd say, on the lower end of the concern level. On the higher end of the concern level is something, pancreatitis, which I might be suspicious might have been what was going on with your other baby, because we know that in dogs, when they eat a high-fat meal, they get into the garbage, they get into the leftover Thanksgiving goodies and overdo it, it can trigger a problem with the pancreas where too many of the digestive enzymes are released. It causes abdominal pain, vomiting, can be very serious. It can be life-threatening. So that would be on the higher end of my concern spectrum. And I think with that, that would really, for your situation, Jim, I would honestly say we'd have to watch and see how we're doing. If we saw any symptoms of anyone not eating, having vomiting, or just abdominal pain when you kind of touch their belly and kind of just gently squeeze, if they groan or kind of cry out, that would be a pet I'd get to the veterinarian right away. But, because we don't know who got what and how much, it may just be a matter of watching and waiting there.
Yeah. Should we maybe wean them off of food for a little while? And
how recently did this happen?
Just yesterday.
Just yesterday. Well, normally, if I have a dog that gets into something that they shouldn't, one thing you can do is, for some dogs, we will actually give a little bit of food along the time just to give them something else with some bulk. If it's already been since yesterday, I would probably just hold them off on a fast for at least 12 hours, just to see what happens. And, if you get past the point of 24 hours without incidents, you're going to be hopefully okay. Maybe still having some diarrhea at that point, but that'll be kind of the point of kind of going, whew, and hopefully we'll be past that in another 12 hours.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, with our first dog that we lost, she did have pancreas, something wrong with her pancreas, and passed, so we're a bit concerned about it.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, if we would have caught these guys and I'd be talking to you like right after this happened, I'd probably be talking about some foods or some things we can do. But at this point, I think you're in the kind of the watch and wait mode there.
Okay, so far there's not really showing any symptoms.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your call, Jim. Fingers crossed there. 1-866-405-8405 to connect with our dream team. What kind of foods would you give this dog after, if it was just right after? Are there certain foods that counteract pork rinds?
Mostly I would just be giving something with some carbohydrate, so whether that be just a dry kibble. For sometimes I'll actually give bread, believe it or not, just if it's something I want to absorb, something that's really greasy. But yeah, usually just a good, solid dog meal would be something I'd give them.
So pork rinds can't be good for humans, can they?
I don't know. I think anything in moderation. You got to watch. There's a lot of salt in these suckers. If you've ever, I can't say I've eaten a full bag because I usually get greasified mouth after a while, but they really do make you thirsty. So, that would be the other thing for Jim to be ready for. Lots of drinking and lots of pee in there.
Good to know. Okay. Toll free 1-866-405-8405. And this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Sandy Ward Books. Cozy up with your furry friend in a great read. Something Worth Saving by Sandy Ward is a wonderfully touching and surprisingly funny story of a fiercely loyal cat named Lily and the unbreakable bond she shares with her human. Clever and observant, Lily knows that you don't have to be the biggest or the strongest to fight for the ones you love. You can find something worth saving everywhere books are sold. And learn more at sandywardbooks.com. Thanks, Sandy Ward, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now at 1-866-405-8405.
Hi, this is Joyce DeWitt on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animals. Thank you.
That's my dog, Annie. She's healthy now, but recently she broke her leg and I had to rush her to the vet. Thankfully, she's protected by Embrace Pet Insurance. They covered her surgery and reimbursed the claim quickly. Embrace offers one simple plan for unexpected accidents and illnesses that you can personalize to fit your budget. To learn more, visit EmbracePetInsurance.com to get a free quote. Policies underwritten by a licensed insurer of American Modern Insurance Group. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions. Visit EmbracePetInsurance.com for coverage details.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. The opioid crisis is not just impacting people. A new study in Pennsylvania says there's been a big increase in the amount of pain medication being prescribed to pets in that state. It shows that opioid prescriptions for animals in Pennsylvania are up 41% over a 10-year period. And for some reason, that doesn't correlate with an increased number of patients there. However, if opioids are so addictive for humans, have you ever thought about this? Are they addictive to pets too? Well, one of the experts involved in the research explains it like this. He says, we don't recognize that dogs or cats get addicted to these medications, probably, because there's a psychological component that we don't know whether they experience or not, but we don't ever see signs of withdrawal, so therefore they don't think addiction is something that happens to pets.
You know, I have a lot of patients who their dogs are trained to get their pills. So, they come and anticipate their medication, but, are they really addicted or are they just like the treat that comes with it?
Pill pockets, right?
Yeah.
Or cheese. We use cheese. The biggest downside, you guys, to having a cat is what?
What is it?
Hal, you're the cat lover.
There's no downside to having a cat.
No sleep.
Hair.
Claws in the face.
Probably the litter box, I would say, for most people.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but at this year's Consumer Electronics Show, there's a company called Persong that showed off its new modern-looking, very minimalist style, self-cleaning litter box called LaviBot. And it works like this, pretty much like the others. But after your cat does their business in LaviBot, there's a rake on the inside that gently and quietly removes clumps without breaking them apart in the process. And then you can also set different timed intervals for the box to be cleaned. And waste, I can't believe this, is kept in a bag-lined drawer, which only needs to be emptied once every 2 weeks. Wow. So it must be, like a vault or something. So now the app that goes with it, by the way, connects with the LaviBot to track litter use, changes to your cat's weight. It can even differentiate between multiple cats. And another feature is the ability to receive a text when your cat has used it. Now, in comparison to Litter Robot, LaviBot is said to be smaller than Litter Robot, and it can also automatically add fresh litter from a 1.7-gallon storage bin that it has with it. And the company says it will launch an Indiegogo campaign in May with prices starting at $379.
Who keeps texting you? Who's texting you at 3 in the morning? It's my cat litter.
All right, you guys, you up for a new pet food? I was thinking it might be a treat, but no, it's a pet food. Because feeding our pets accounts for, 20%, they say, of the world's meat and fish consumption, which, that's a pretty big effect on the environment. So there are about 500 million pet cats and dogs all around the world, and people who are environmentalists are looking for ways to lower their pets' environmental paw print. So now in Britain, there is a pet food company called Yora, and they have what they hope is a solution with a new product that replaces human-grade meat with maggots. Maggots, which they say is one of the cheapest and best protein sources known to man. It's not so much maggots as it is the larva of black soldier flies, and is said to contain 23% crude protein per serving. The pellets are rolled up in oats and potatoes, and that, they say, makes the food easier to digest than chicken. And in Britain, this sells for $62.50. Would you try it?
No. No.
Pass on that.
Yeah. No.
My dogs do eat just about anything, including worms on the sidewalk, but I don't know that I want to put them in their food bowl.
Yeah. No.
That's exactly their point, is dogs eat just about anything. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
It is Animal Radio celebrating the connection with our bats.
Our bats?
Well, today we're doing that. We have Batman's sidekick, Robin. Burt Ward is joining us right now. Hi, how are you doing, Burt?
Hello, citizens.
It is great to hear from you. I understand that you are now involved with saving animals, and dogs in particular, and giant dogs.
Well, actually, for the last 25 years, my wife and I have operated Gentle Giants Rescue and Adoptions, the world's largest giant breed dog rescue. And in the last 25 years, we've rescued more than 15,500 dogs, everyone which would have been put to sleep if we hadn't been there to take it out of a shelter or to take it over from an owner that had to give it up. In the course of doing that, we have discovered some fantastic things. We have dogs now living, and I'm sure since you have a vet there, she would be very happy to hear. We have dogs living up to 27 years, healthy and active, including giant breeds.
I thought giant breeds generally don't live a very long life. They live shorter lives.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. I'll give you some actual numbers. Irish Wolfhounds and Mastiffs, 5 to 7 years. Great Danes, 7 to 9 years. Russian Wolfhounds, 7 to 9 years. And other breeds, they can live a little longer. But in fact, the average dog in America, I understand, actually only lives about 9 or 10 years on average.
Wow. What made you decide to bring in big breeds?
Because when we moved here from Los Angeles, we're about an hour east of Los Angeles, halfway between L.A. and Palm Springs. My wife and I, 25 years ago, moved with our young daughter, and we decided to get her a dog. I mean, my whole life, I've had dogs, and I've trained dogs. In fact, I handle dogs, including military and police dogs. I mean, my wife and I are expert handlers. But we wanted to get a dog for our daughter, and we wanted to get a Great Dane. We found it was very hard to find them because there weren't any. And we did some more research and found out that the rescue that had been there before for Great Danes, the lady had actually died. And people that were giving up their Great Danes, if they couldn't find a home, they go to a shelter. And in animal shelters, dogs are barking in cages all day long. And who's going to take out a big Great Dane that's barking in a cage? So they were all being put to death. And my wife and I were so upset because Great Danes are very gentle dogs. They call them gentle giants, hence our name. And so I said to my wife the first week in August of 1994, I said, Tracy, we can't let these dogs die. How about just for a couple of weeks, just till we find somebody else to take this over?
Oh, yes.
We rescue the Great. Well, by the end of August, we had more than 100 here.
Jeez.
And it's been 25 years. I'm a patient guy, but nobody has come to take this over.
That's okay. I think you're doing it the right way anyway.
So anyway, what happened was, and how we got these dogs to live so much longer, and I'm sure your vet's going to be very interested because I'm going to be saying things he or she might not be aware of, but we couldn't stand it when we would lose one of our dogs. And in the beginning, the Danes living 7 to 9 years, when we would lose one, my wife and I would absolutely sob. I mean, it just affected us so much. We couldn't stand it. So we vowed that if we could find a way to help them live longer, we would. Initially, we developed a feeding and care program. We feed and care for dogs differently than other people do, okay? And we have a whole page of our website, and we care for dogs differently. And by applying this, when we've had all times in the last 25 years, more than 50 in our house at all times, 24/7, more than 50, all different sizes, mainly the giant breeds. Everybody gets along harmoniously. In fact, if you listen, you don't hear anything because all of our dogs are trained not to bark unless they sense danger, because barking is the beginning of aggressive behavior. Anyway, what happened was we first developed this feeding care program, and we got to a point where we were really excited. We had our dogs, on average, living about 3 years longer. So our Great Danes, instead of only living 7 to 9 years, were actually living 10 to 12 years, okay? And at that point, we said, is there anything else we could do? So because we had the money to do it, we decided to make our own food. And our expectations were very small. We thought, hey, well, what if we make the finest food in the world? Maybe we could pull out another year. You know what I mean? Maybe a year and a half to each dog's life. And so one thing and another, we've got right now 30 of our 50 dogs that have already lived more than twice their normal lifespan.
That's very, very impressive. Now, are any of these your personal dogs?
Well, everyone is rescue. So until they get a home, we call them our personal dogs.
So do they sleep in bed with you, I guess, is the question.
Yes, I have at all times, yes, a minimum, I would say, of 25 of the 50 in bed with us, and many more sometimes. And in fact, you go to our website, there's a video right at the top of the website, a wonderful video. It's in slow motion because there's so many dogs, and with us in bed with many of the 50, okay? And these are giant dogs. We have dogs that weigh up to 300 pounds.
Oh.
Most people have never seen a 200-pound dog. We have Great Danes that stand on their hind legs, 7'5", 3 inches taller than Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player.
Wow.
I know. Those are giants. That's, it's just like a giant basketball player. You don't see them on the street every day. But we have giant dogs. We have all breeds. We now rescue 45 different breeds. The AKC acknowledges 164 breeds of dogs. We have 45 of them.
Wow. Burt, we got to take a quick break. We are with Burt Ward, the original Robin from Batman, and we'll be right back. Stick around.
The Black Cloud Sound.AF1 headsets have a built-in FM receiver with dual dynamic drivers and customizable EQ and sound effects settings. They're capable of delivering beautiful sound. You can also tune directly to any FM radio station without internet access. Visit www.blackcloud.com. Create your account and order Sound.AF1 by inputting the radio station coupon code Animal Radio to get the special 10% off discount.
Live at the Red Barn Studios, you're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
We are with Burt Ward, Batman's original Robin. And Burt loves himself some Great Danes and big dogs, gentle giants, as he calls them. Did you have any pets as a kid? Did you have any animals?
Oh, yes. My whole life. And on Batman, because of security issues, I had 2 Dobermans.
Oh, really?
And, I had to. I had security issues, so I learned how to handle, protection dogs. And the thing that I was going to say is that what we're doing is our charity. My wife and I take no money from our rescue. We don't take a dime.
The biggest thing I have to say is 50 dogs and big dogs. That you have to have a lot of scooping going on there.
It's a full-time job.
Do you have a backhoe?
Well, we feed 600 pounds a day of gentle giants.
Ooh.
That's 16 of our 33 pounds a day. That's 112 bags a week. It is too much for us to lift and carry, so we have people that help. But you might find it interesting that my wife, who her name is Tracy, I like to describe her as the Mother Teresa of dogs. She personally handles all 50 of those dogs by herself.
Wow. Yeah, I'm saluting.
Yeah, pretty amazing, And at one point when we were first taking them in, we were doing 50 surgeries a week, and I'm sure your Dr. Debbie, would realize that we had to use multiple clinics. In fact, we were at over almost 3,000 surgeries a year.
Wow.
That we were doing. And we pay for everything out of our own money. Even though we're a 501c3, we can take donations. We don't have time to go out and ask for money. We just pay for it ourselves. But you know something? My wife and I love what we do. We love dogs. We love the people. It makes us happy. We love animals. So this is our life's work. It's our charity. And I'm just thrilled that I can try to make a difference for people who love their animals.
And you do. You make a big difference for a lot of Great Danes. And thanks for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Shelley, how are you doing?
Great, thanks.
What's going on in your world?
I got a new kitten, and it won't quit crying.
Oh, what's the situation when the kitten's crying?
It doesn't matter. Well, actually, I got two kittens. They're from the same litter, and we got them from the pound, and my daughter has one, and I have one, and they will not stop crying. You know, they had an upper respiratory thing, but we took care of all that, and they're still crying.
Okay, how long ago was that?
I've had them almost 2 weeks now, so they just recently got over their illness, but we took them to the vet, and the vet said everything's okay.
Okay. And what kind of kitties are they? Any kind of special...
She's like a tiger kitty, but her brother looked like a Siamese.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. So, well, I guess it's kind of hard to say without seeing them in action, what the context of this kind of crying is. But the first thing I always ask is it an Oriental short hair kind of cat, like a Siamese or a related breed? Because they are just naturally little chatterboxes and talk about just about anything. They will talk to you up and down, all around, and it's just kind of the way they are. They're very vocal. But I'm also concerned just because if they did have an upper respiratory infection, there is certainly the potential that could still be causing some issues for them, some kind of discomfort in the inner ear areas, or even in the sinus area. So I would want to put my little eyeballs on them and maybe even look in their ears to make sure we don't have any kind of changes in there that make me concerned.
Right.
And the thing
what? She shakes her head a lot, so maybe you're right.
Yeah, so I would definitely, see the vet and have them look at that. We may or may not see changes on an otoscopic exam when we look down with the scope, but if we have symptoms relative to that, then I often will use like an anti-inflammatory or at least some kind of pain reliever, because anyone who's had a, inner ear infection or pressure in your ear, it doesn't feel good. So I always would, especially with cats, they don't really often verbalize pain. So if I ever suspect there's pain for a cat, it's always better to assume and treat for what we think could be there rather than just let them go on and just hope it goes away. So yeah, I would encourage that and a little pain relief.
Okay, because they're driving us crazy.
Oh. Well, and
they're so cute though.
And I'm assuming, does it stop when they eat? They're not crying when they're eating, right?
Well, no, but even when you're petting them, I mean, they are crying. They're crying all the time. They're really clinging, too.
Oh, and how old were they when you got them?
They think 2.5 months.
Yeah, and so you have two together, so that helps to kind of keep some camaraderie and companionship there. But make sure you also...
separate now. Sorry.
Oh,
they're separate now. Okay.
Okay. Well, then make sure you do schedule some scheduled playtime just so we don't have boredom and loneliness when they're acclimating into their new home and they're no longer with their siblings. There's a lot of time in the day to fill. So, definitely work on trying to keep this kitty occupied, busy, change the games up. Cats are not dogs, so you got to change like in 5 to 10 minutes. It's a boring game. You got to find a new one. But try that too.
All right.
Thanks, Shelley.
So
I had a Siamese cat, and they sound like babies when they cry.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, go give them a big old hug from all of us, will you?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your call. Well, it has once again just flown by. Remember, if you need your fix during the week, you can get it over at animalradio.pet or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android from the Apple Store of your choice. Whatever app store trips your trigger, okay? Just look for Animal Radio. Also, if you have a Yorkshire Terrier, a Shih Tzu, a Pug, or a Mini Schnauzer, check out Dr. Debbie's books, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. I actually started reading one of them again. I read it the first time, and now I'm doing it again, and I'm learning even more. You are truly talented.
Why, thank you, sir.
We'll put links over at animalradio.pet for everything you've heard on today's show, including those books. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.